Or did it go live in the past?
No.
All right. Hey, folks. Let me go ahead and get this out of the way. So my name is Richard. I'm at Richard on the MakeCode forum, and I'm also one of the devs on the MakeCode team.
My name is Shannon. I'm at Shakao on the forums, and I'm another dev on the MakeCode team.
And we're going to be walking you guys through some MakeCode Arcade just live streaming content today. We have not rehearsed this in any way, shape, or form, so we're going to be doing this live. It's going to be a fun experiment, and please forgive us if the audio quality and video is just like terrible, because I think it'll work out.
Trialing and erroring our way through this.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to say to everyone is make sure that you check out this link we have up here in the top left, the aks./MakeCode Arcade game. That's going to be the recipe flow that we're going to be going through today, and we're going to be making a game live with you guys, but we're going to try and switch it up and customize it. So we have one other link that's important, which is this one right here, aka.ms/MakeCode questions. And so if you go there, you'll be able to post your questions to the forum, and hopefully we can get back to you and kind of help you along. So cool, let's get started.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So let's go ahead and open up the recipe flow. So like I said before, we're going to go to aka.ms/MakeCode Arcade game. And that's going to drop us right into a tutorial. Okay, so the first step in this tutorial is creating the hero for the game. So this game is kind of like a shooter. It's something that we put together a while ago to just test out this idea of having a basically choose your own adventure style tutorial, which is something we haven't done before in MakeCode. Mm-hmm. But we're not going to be using a duck in a bubble because that's boring. We're going to draw some terrible sprites because I cannot draw, and we're going to be making something new. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first step is from scene, we're going to drag out the set background color block and put it into the on start. So scene's over here on the left. And what's a good color?
Purple?
We got like 3 purples to choose from.
Yeah.
Do the purplest purple.
Sure.
All right. So as soon as we drag this block in, you can see our simulator lights up there on the left, and we're going to see our code changing as we make changes over here. So now that we're done with this step, let's check the hint to make sure that we did it right. They just put and head on to the next one. Okay, so from sprites, we're going to drag out set my sprite 2 block and put it into on start. And so there's 2 blocks in here. One's for projectiles and one's for sprites. We want to drag out the my sprite one. And here's our first big decision point for this stream. And we're going to try and choose the character that's going to be the hero of this game that we're live coding.
Cool, yeah. So what kind of game should we make?
Well, it's going to be a shooter, so it's going to be something attacking other things. But in this fearful age, yes. I think we should go for something that's more fun.
A game that promotes friendship.
Yes. A game that makes you feel like you're sitting in the park and just having a nice old day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, well, one idea that we were throwing around before
mm-hmm.
was it would be fun if instead of shooting things, what if we had... okay, we just got feedback from the control room that the stream is a little messed up, so I'm going to real quick go into OBS and fix this up for everyone. Yes. Cool, hopefully that's a bit better.
Yeah.
Minimize that.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks. First time. All right. So let's go ahead and make our character. So the idea that we had before was we were going to have a person in the park feeding the pigeons. So instead of shooting the pigeons, they will be serving them pieces of bread of various kinds.
Pigeons love.
Yes, pigeons love bread. And the pigeons, we want to make it so that when they eat the bread, they can hopefully just fly off happily. So our character is going to be, I guess, just a person?
Yeah.
Okay.
A park member.
Okay, do you want to draw or should I draw?
You can do this one, I'll do the pigeons.
Okay. Well, this is going to
Division
turn
of
out
labor.
terrible. So, nope. Let's give our person a very circular head, an eye, and a mouth.
Give him a hat.
Give him a hat?
Yeah.
Okay, wait, let me move this down. There we go.
Beautiful.
And it's going to be a red hat, like a Devo hat.
Band? The band?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
And then green shirt?
Yes.
Okay, I like it. Those are shoulders.
Appreciate your dedication to anatomy in this time.
And tiny legs.
Amazing. Do you want to color space in also?
Yeah. Let's go with something like that.
Perfect.
Okay. And I'm also going to make the neck like blue because I don't like this black.
Oh, yeah.
And the eye be white. There we go. That's not creepy at all. All right. Here's our character. What's a good name for him? It's always important to name your variables.
Yes, that's true.
So,
Archibald.
Archibald's pretty good. I like that. All right. So here's Archibald over here. And since we've already done this, let's check the hint real quick to make sure that we're all caught up. That's good. So we're going to go on to the next step. So I'll click next over here. From controller, drag move my sprite with buttons block after set my sprite. This will allow you to move your sprite around the screen. Try using the arrow keys to move the sprite in the simulator. So that would be the controller category. Move right here. And because we named our sprite Archibald, I will go ahead and change that. So whenever you drag out a new block in Arcade, it's always good to check your variables drop down. This is the number one issue we see when people are making arcade games is that they forget to change the variable and they get a bug when their program starts running. So let's try and move around. There we go.
Yeah, look at him go.
He's got some pep in his step. All right, cool. Let's move on to the next step then. So now let's have our hero shoot some projectiles. Find the on A button pressed in controller and drag it onto the workspace. Okay. From sprites, drag out projectile from my sprite into the on A button pressed. Set the VY to 0. All right, cool. So this is the other sprite block that we talked about before. So this is creating a projectile. So what is a projectile in MakeCode parlance?
A projectile is just a specific kind of sprite.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So normally when we have sprites, they stick around for a while because we're doing things like controlling them with the buttons. But sometimes you want to create a sprite that's temporary, that just kind of goes out for a while in a direction, and then when it goes off the screen, it disappears. And so that's what we use projectiles for. So in this case, you can see it's giving me a little warning because I forgot to change my variable dropdown to make sure it's coming from Archibald. And we want our projectiles to be pieces of bread. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this bread. And let's see, we want to set VY to 0. All right, let's draw some bread.
Yeah.
So I was thinking classic loaf style.
Yeah, with the stripes on the top.
Stripes on the top.
What are you?
I was thinking like
like
slice.
a slice. Oh, yeah. All right. I was thinking like an entire loaf. You know they have the cuts.
Oh yeah, that would work.
No, we're in this now.
All right. That's bread-like,
Yeah.
I
And once
think.
you fill in the inside.
Okay. Which of these is the most? Oh, this one's perfect.
Yeah. And then dots.
Yeah. All right. Let's put in some dots. Black.
Do what?
Or
Do this.
purple?
No, over one.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
All right, got it.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, so let's try this out. When I press the A button, we should see if Archibald is going to be throwing some bread out. Oh, there you go. Perfect. You know, it didn't look that great when it was zoomed out, but but seeing it tiny, I think it actually works pretty well.
Mhm.
All right. So let's head on to the next step. Oh, cool. So we finished the first tutorial. So if you've ever done a tutorial in MakeCode before, you see that usually this is the end. Usually you're done with your game and you can go and make changes to it if you want. But what we're trying to do here is sort of a more open-ended experience, a choose-your-own-adventure of arcade tutorials.
Mhm.
So which one of these do you want to do next? We have two options here. We can either create a bunch of enemies or we could design a background.
Let's do enemies.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So in this case, because again, we're going for companionship. This is a game, we're not going to have enemies, we are going to have friends who are pigeons. They just don't know they're friends with us yet because we haven't put bread into their mouths. Beaks. All right, so looks like we're going to create a bunch of enemies and spawn them at random locations. Sounds good. All right, so first step is adding an on-update interval block to the workspace. So that's this one right here.
Yeah, and this block just runs some code every 500 milliseconds, half a second.
So you can see we only have a subset of the blocks right now because those are just the ones that are used in our lesson. But if you've seen the on-game update, this is just like that block, but slower. So we'll go ahead and we've got that on our workspace. Let's head next. And you know what? Because we're working on this part of the code, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. All right, so inside our on-update interval, we want to place a create sprite block. So just like before, this is too zoomed in. There we go. We're going to drag out another set my sprite too.
Mm-hmm.
And because our enemy this time is going to be pigeons. Pigeon, just to do it. So it says place it in the on-update interval, and then we're going to rename the variable to enemy sprite and change the player argument to enemy. So we already renamed it. We went to pigeon, and we're going to head to change this to enemy. All right, cool. So now we're going to go ahead and draw our next image.
Yeah.
All right, so which of these is the most pigeon colors? I think this one?
Yeah, I think it's purple. So another thing we could do is we could check out the gallery.
Oh, true.
And see if there's anything we could modify. So
that is a good idea because I was kind of sweating drawing these pigeons. So we've got the duck, obviously, but he's facing the wrong direction.
Yes.
So I think we could turn this angelfish into a pigeon.
Yeah, I think we can do that.
It looks like a pigeon's head.
That's true. Yes. Okay. Let's do it.
Okay, so right now this is using up most of the space, so let's go ahead and make it a little taller.
Yeah.
Let's do like 24. And let's get rid of some of these colors.
Yeah. I don't think it needs any fins or anything. It's basically a pigeon right there.
Great start. Okay, beaks are orange.
Yes.
It's like the little waddle thing.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. And then there's like green for the neck. And let's erase some of this stuff.
Oh man, yeah.
This is basically a pigeon.
I think so.
All right. So let's go ahead and make the eye a little bigger. Let's do outline. And now we're going to give it a tiny body.
Tail.
Oh, right, legs. That's good.
Yeah. Look at that guy.
So I was being kind of generous to us with the bread, but I think you could look at this and say this is a pigeon.
Oh, I think so. Absolutely.
Yeah. And make its neck a little greener.
Yeah. Should we give it a wing, or does it need...
Oh, yeah, it should have a wing.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay.
Yes.
Look at that. That's a pigeon if I ever saw one.
Absolutely.
You know what? I'm going to change the background color.
Yeah, that's probably a good call.
So, what's the most park-ish?
Well, brown for dirt? Like the light brown, maybe?
Oh, like this one?
Yeah. Because our shirt is green, so...
Yeah, I think that looks nice.
Yeah.
Let's change the color of Archibald's shirt. It doesn't stand out very much. What do you want to do?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that looks fine.
Great.
There we go.
Well, now we can take back on green. This is not important.
So, all right, we got a pretty good game going here. Right now, it looks like we only have one pigeon, but I think it's just creating a ton. They're just all stacked on top of each other.
Right, in exactly the same place.
Yep. So let's go on to the next step, and hopefully we can fix that. All right. So we want to place a set position to block underneath the create sprite and change the variable dropdown to enemy sprite, pigeon. So it's that one right here.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, the reason I know to go to the sprites category is, well, because we work on MakeCode, but also because the set position to is blue and the sprites is also blue. And because everything that has to do with sprites is all in that category. So, all right, so we go ahead and drag this out. It already switched the variable dropdown for us. And our pigeon is now up in the corner, which is not where we want it to be. Hopefully we will fix that in the next step. All right, so inside the X argument of set position to block, we want to place a pick random 0 to 10. So random numbers is a math thing, so we're going to go to the math category. And we want to place this in the X argument. We want to change the second argument from 10 to 160.
So 160 is how wide the MakeCode Arcade screen is.
Yep.
So you're picking a number between 0, which is the left side of the screen, and 160, which is the far right side.
Yeah.
Directional, you know.
Yeah, no, that's right. All right. I'm going to get rid of the URL now. Hopefully you guys
we're
all...
too far down in the corner. It's overlapping the
Oh, I see.
space. Yeah.
Let me guess some more.
Yeah. Thanks, Daryl.
Thank you, Daryl. Daryl's in the control room, everybody. He's another dev on the MakeCode team. All right. So now we have a wonderful line of pigeons up top. Because right now we're setting the X argument, and like Shannon said, the screen is 160 pixels wide, so we're going from all the way to the left all the way to the right. Our screen is wider than it is tall. It's 120 pixels tall. So let's see the next step. All right, we're going to place another pick random block. So we'll go back to our math category and drag it into the second argument. And we're going to change the second argument from 10 to 120, which is the height of the screen. There we go.
Awesome.
So now,
pigeons.
yeah, Our pigeons are appearing all over the place. Of course, their hunger will not be sated. They are ignoring all the bread that is in their way. All right, let's keep going. Drag an on-overlap block into the workspace. Change the second drop-down to enemy. So we'll drag out this block. The on sprite of kind overlaps. So this block looks pretty scary. It's got a lot of stuff going on, but it's actually pretty simple. If you look at it, we have two sprites here, sprite and other sprite, and we have two kinds, player and player. So when we created Archibald, we set his kind to player. And in this case, we want to have when the enemy overlaps with the player, something to happen. So we're going to change the second dropdown to be an enemy. So basically what this is saying is whenever a sprite of kind player, so that would be Archibald, overlaps another sprite of kind enemy, any of the pigeons, whatever code we put inside here is going to run.
Right. And we want that code to feed the pigeons.
Yes. Well, yes. Okay, so inside the on-overlap block, place a destroy sprite block. Drag the other sprite variable from the on-overlap block and place it inside of the destroy sprite. All right, so let's go ahead and just go through this real quick, and then we're gonna customize it. So when I drag this out, it says destroy pigeon, and you might think that's the right thing to do, but actually, so because this is running every 500 milliseconds, this pigeon variable is always going to be pointing to the last pigeon that was created. So if I go overlap a pigeon right now, you can see the one that disappears is just a random one on the screen. It's not the one I'm actually overlapping with. So if we want to do the one that I'm actually overlapping with, we want to use one of the arguments. So I'm going to delete this pigeon block, and we want the sprite of kind enemy, so I'm going to drag the other sprite and put it in there, because that is the sprite of kind enemy. So now if I move Archibald around, the pigeons disappear. Okay, so like we said before, this is a game about friendship. It's a game about a man, Archibald, feeding some pigeons. So this destroying seems like a little harsh to me.
Yeah.
So instead, we want the pigeons to fly away happily.
Yes.
And so let's go ahead and see if we can make that happen. Well,
we could make the pigeons happy when they vanish, when
True.
Archibald
yes.
touches them.
But I think that right now we don't actually have the blocks to do that.
Oh no,
we're gonna
can you
have
do
to.
the plus for effect?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh right. The smiles effect. So now when we hit the pigeons, they are disintegrating, but with smiles.
Yeah.
So that's kind of positive. Let's see if the heart ones makes it so that they don't disintegrate. Nope.
No. But
I like
they're
the
feeling good
hearts
about
more.
it. I think that's the important thing.
Do you prefer hearts or smiles?
I like the hearts, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do hearts.
All right. At the end, we're going to make it so the pigeons fly away.
Yeah.
For now, they're just going to dissolve into happiness. All right. Cool. So that's the end of this one. So we were at another junction.
Yes.
Which one do you want to do next? So we have 3 here. Projectile effects. So I guess that's going to have to be something to do with the bread that we fire. We have moving enemies, so making our pigeons move. As pigeons also often do.
Sure.
And then we have multiple enemies. So we could try to draw more pigeons.
Let's make the pigeons move.
Okay, let's make the pigeons move.
Cool.
So we'll check the middle option, moving enemies. All right, we're going to use the onCreated event to make the enemies in our game move. Drag an onCreated block into the workspace. It's this one right here. So sort of like our onOverlap block before, this is an event, and it's going to run code whenever a sprite of a certain kind does something. In this case, it's when that sprite is created. So right now, it's running for every time a sprite of kind player is created. We're going to change that to enemy. And nothing changed, because we're not doing anything yet. let's move on to the next step. Inside the onCreated block, place a setVelocity block. Drag the sprite variable from the onCreated block and place it inside the sprite argument of setVelocity. Drag out this setVelocity block, and we're going to put the sprite there. Again, we got a warning because we need to change our variable. And
Moving pigeons.
Yeah. What direction do we want the pigeons to move in?
Let's move towards Archibald, right?
Okay.
They can see his bag of bread.
All right. So in that case, we need to do math. We don't have the math box right now.
Oh, sorry. I just meant across the screen.
Oh, so from the right,
Yeah,
like going left?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. So because it's going left, that would be negative Vx.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we're at 50 pixels per second. Let's go to negative 50. Close enough. Oh, yeah, perfect. And we'll change Vy to 0. So now, there we go. All our pigeons.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good.
I love these pigeons.
I am very proud of the pigeons, right? Archibald, you're okay too. All right, let's head on to the next step. We already did this one. So change the values in the setVelocity block. We already did that to set the speed and direction of your enemy sprite. In this example, we're turning to negative 50 and Vy to 0, which is what we did. Place a setFlag block below the setVelocity block. Drag the sprite variable, and let's go ahead and get that set flag out. So we want to drag the sprite variable and put it in there, and we'll delete this guy. So what are flags in MakeCode? Sometimes we want sprites to have a certain kind of behavior, and MakeCode has some helpful flags to just kind of turn it on or off for a particular sprite.
Yeah.
So for example, if we were to take the stay in screen one, turn it on, all of our pigeons are now going to hit the wall and just stay there forever.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fun, but not really what we're going for in this case. So let's go to the next one and see what it's going to have us do. So we want to change the dropdown in the setFlag block to auto destroy and change the second argument from off to on. This flag will make it so that the enemies will be automatically destroyed when they travel outside of the screen. All right, so we'll choose auto destroy and we'll set that to on. All right, so why is this one important? Before we set the flag, the pigeons were just going forever to the left. So even though they weren't on the screen, they were just still out there.
Right.
And why is that a bad thing?
Well, it's not a problem on your computer usually, because your computer is very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
But MakeCode Arcade also runs on microcontroller devices, which is like a very, very small computer. So when you create, hundreds and hundreds of pigeons, sometimes the hardware can't handle the number of pigeons.
So every pigeon takes memory, and eventually the microcontroller will run out of memory. Mm-hmm. Luckily, though, the laptop we're on today has tons of memory, so that's not actually an issue. But just in case, if we want to put this on hardware later, we're going to go ahead and set this flag to be on. And cool, we got moving pigeons.
Awesome.
All right.
I think you should pick this one.
Okay. Let's design a background.
Cool, yeah.
Kind of into that. Okay, let's do projectile effects. I guess we messed up the link on that one, but that's cool. We'll just go through this one, and hopefully this will work out too.
Yes.
So now that you have enemies and projectiles, let's give your projectile some power. All right, so from the sprites, we're going to drag out on-sprite overlaps. So let's go ahead and drag out another one of those. So if you remember from before, we have one of these on-sprite overlaps already. This is for when the player overlaps the enemy and they turn into hearts. But this case, we want to deal with the projectiles. So we're going to click the first drop-down and select projectile. And we're going to click the second and select enemy. Cool. All right, so now that we've got that on the workspace, let's go into sprites and drag out the destroy block on our on-sprite overlaps. So go into sprites, I'm going to drag out another destroy, put it in there, and we're going to get another warning because we don't have a MySprite in our program. So we'll drag out other sprite, put it on top, and throw this one away. All right, so now let's go ahead and fire some bread at some pigeons.
There you go.
Yeah. And now our bread leaves a pigeonless void in its wake. Which again, it's not what we're going for. So just like before, we can go into our destroy and we're going to press plus. And let's go ahead and add hearts. So now we're just serving up some bread to those pigeons.
Yeah.
All right, from info, we're going to drag change score. So info category over here, drag out the change score, and we'll put it in the on overlaps. So this will give us a point each time we hit an enemy. Mm-hmm. So we could call this one pigeons served.
The number of friends we've made.
Yes. Cool. And because we also made the decision that Archibald feeds them when they get right up to him, let's go ahead and duplicate this. So let me slow down and do that again. Right click on the block, you can click duplicate. This will create a copy for you. And I'll just drag this and put it into the on sprite of kind player overlaps other sprite of kind to enemy that we made before. So now we will get a point also when Archibald hands the bread to the pigeons in person. All right. From sprites, drag the MySprite start effect block into on-sprite overlaps. Then drag the sprite variable into the start effect block. Click the drop down to select your favorite effect. All right, so let's go ahead and drag the sprite start effect, put it in here. And we're going to put it in the sprite. And we want to choose our favorite effect. Oh, this one's actually perfect because the bread is being eaten. So in this case, disintegrate actually makes sense. So now if we fire the bread starts crumbling away. That's actually perfect. If it hits another one, it gets eaten more. Awesome.
Cool.
All right. Let's go next.
Sweet.
Okay. So design a background is off the table. But we've already done moving enemies. So do you want to do multiple enemies?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So what other kinds of birds eat bread?
Duh. We know you're not supposed to give ducks bread.
We'll figure it out when we get to that part. All right, so we're going to drag another onCreated block into the workspace. If you already have an onCreated block for enemies, use that instead. Perfect, we already do. So that's over here. And it's onCreated sprite of kind enemy. Perfect. Inside the onCreated block, place an if-then-else statement. So that's in the logic section. So the if-then-else statement is a really useful block. It lets you check to see if something is true and then run some code or run some other code. So in this case, right now we are always setting the image of our pigeon to this pigeon. And I think what we're going to do is make it so that there is a chance that it'll be a different image. So we're going to place a %chance block inside the condition of the if-then-else and change the percentage to 50%. So I'm going to go into math. I've got the %chance block. We'll change it to 50. So 50%, that's the same as a coin flip. All right, so now we want to place a setImage2 block into the first clause of the if-then-else and drag the sprite variable from onCreated block and place it inside of the setImage2. Okay. So we'll go back into sprites and grab out the setImage2. We're going to get another warning. And we want to drag this sprite variable and put it in here. And get rid of this. All right. And now we need to draw our second image.
Okay.
So let's look for inspiration.
It's almost a bird. The bat.
True. Bats do not eat bread.
No, but we could just give it a beak.
Sure. Okay, this one's probably just going to be a nondescript. We'll make it blue, and then it's a robin.
Oh, blue?
Whoa.
Red. A blue jay?
Yes.
But
I know what birds are. All right, so let's just make this blue.
control room suggestion we do a monkey with animations.
Well, if the control room can show me a monkey that eats bread.
Control room also wants us to know that robins are in fact black and red and not blue.
Okay, we got it. So let's make this one a little longer so that we have room for the
Oh yeah, sure.
the beak.
Yeah.
So let's just up this to 24. Should get resized.
Great.
And I can use this tool over here to move it around. So we'll just make the wings a different color.
Yeah.
And then draw the signature beak.
Yes.
And give it an eyeball.
Yeah. That's a bird.
It's a bird.
Maybe if you give it like a belly color. Like,
oh yeah, like you want to
light or oh yeah, go for it.
White? White's good.
Yeah,
no,
white's good.
This one is the background color, so we shouldn't do that one.
Yes.
Like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see this one in action. It's not that bad.
Yeah, that's great.
It's okay. It's not like pigeon quality.
No, it looks kind of like a penguin actually. But that's still a bird, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna undo that.
Maybe if you give it like a white dot in its eye also, like a reflection. Yeah, that works. No, that's worse.
All right, maybe we'll come back later and make
we'll
this a slightly
revisit.
bigger thing. But for now, we have this weird,
It's
not a robin,
bird.
blue
Yeah.
jay. All right, let's head on to the next step. Place a second set image to block and the other part of the if clause. Cool. So again, we could go back to the toolbox and grab another one of these out, but the easier thing to do is just right-click and then duplicate. And then put it right in there. And we don't need to draw a different image because we're just going to use our pigeon image. So we got the pigeon image and put it in there. Cool.
Awesome.
There we go. So we got about 50% pigeons, 50% weird demon birds. Cool.
All right.
So finally we can add lives, but I think that kind of goes away from the spirit of this game we've created. So do you instead, maybe we should just end the recipe and then go into the editor and do a few customizations the rest of our time?
Yeah. Well, so like the thing we want to do with this game isn't in this recipe track anymore. So we're going to mod it ourselves.
Yep. So to do that, we're just going to click OK instead of choosing one of these, and we're going to click Finish over here, big orange button. And it's going to ask us if we want to share a project, and not done yet. But I will share it in its current state and save this for later. I should have
Just put it in a new tab.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go out and take a look at our game as a whole. So we've got our on start over here, which is creating Archibald. Got our on A button pressed, which is firing the projectiles. We have the loop that is creating our birds. We have the on created event, which is setting the image and setting the velocity. And we've got our 2 overlap events. So the idea we were talking about before was making it so that when the pigeon gets hit with bread, instead of just dissolving, they fly off into the distance.
Yeah.
And so let's try and do that real quick. So we want to change when our projectile overlaps enemy and our player overlaps enemy. And we can use the set velocity block that we had before. So I'm going to zoom back in so we can actually see what we're doing. And I'll drag out another one of these set velocity blocks. All right. And when our customers are done, which direction should they head in tag set?
Up, right? Into the sky.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So we'll change that to 0. So up is negative. So if you've done graphs in math class before, you're probably like, what? No, y goes up. Positive is up. But that's not the case in Arcade or most computer graphics. Usually you have x going to the right, just like you're used to, but y goes down. So x, 0, 0 is up in the top left corner of the screen. So let's go ahead and change it to 50. And you know what, let's make it a slight diagonal, because that's weird. So we'll change that to like 20.
Yeah, sounds good.
And now.
All right, so they're still dissolving.
Okay. Let's get rid of the So we need to keep the destroy event because we want to make sure that the overlap doesn't keep happening. But actually, there's another way for us to do that. So those flag things that we talked about before. So let me grab out another set flag block. So the flag we used before was the auto destroy. Let me change the variable first because I will forget to do it otherwise. So other sprite is our pigeon, and I'm going to put this one down at the bottom. Cool. So in our list of flags, there's another one here. Basically, we have a problem right now. You know what? Let's just show it, and we'll see what the issue is. So I'll take out this flag block right here, and I'll take out the destroy block. Alt. Yes. All right. And we'll see what happens when a piece of bread hits a pigeon. We're getting a whole lot of points.
Yeah.
For hitting these pigeons, which is an unfair representation of our friends because we've only made one friend in this particular interaction. So why is that happening? If the sprite doesn't get destroyed, this overlap event will fire on every single frame of the game that an overlap happens. So every single time the screen gets drawn, if they're still overlapping, this code will run again. It'll keep giving us more score, and it'll keep setting the velocity over and over again, and it'll keep starting the disintegrating effect on the bread until they're not overlapping anymore. So we don't want that to happen. We want to turn the collisions off. And luckily, there is a flag for doing just that. So I'll drag out my set other sprite, and I'm going to change this stay in screen to be ghost. I'm going to turn that on. So now my sprite will not be destroyed. It will be destroyed when it goes off the screen because we have the auto destroy flag on. But it will stop firing events, and so we'll only get 1 point per bread slice served.
Awesome.
Cool. And we still want the happy effect, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So, I can just duplicate this. So, sprite is referring to our projectile. We want other sprite. And we'll do the hearts.
Awesome.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. Do you have any other ideas?
We could look at animations. I don't know how much time we have.
Yeah. And also, I don't know how many frames of a pigeon I can draw.
I think think this is pretty solid for a game.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to cut it early here. We were going to go till 2, but we're going to just stop 15 minutes early because we've kind of gotten to the end of our game. Let me go ahead and share this one again and call this what first stream pigeons approve.
Yes.
A very descriptive name for our game. And let me just show off one thing that's kind of cool about the share dialog real quick while I just have you all here. If you click the record, you can actually record a little video of your game. And when it's done, it'll stop it at about 30 seconds, I think. And you can now see this video you've recorded. And you might think that that's not super useful, but I'll show you that it is. So let's go ahead and publish this. And we're going to go over to the forum and post this game.
Yeah, so forum.makecode.com is our forum.
And we're just going to go into the live thread here. So when I reply to this thread, I'm going to go ahead and put this link in. And so it's not doing anything right now, but as soon as I press enter, it should update. I had a space. There we go. So now my game's posted, and you can see the little video I recorded so that people can see the thing that they're going to be playing before they actually play.
Yeah.
And let me just write a message. And look good.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. We didn't have to use the technical issues image.
Yeah, not yet. But,
yeah. So this has been our first stream. Hopefully we'll get better at it, and maybe have like a setup with like a microphone and like cameras. I don't know. But thank you so much for tuning in with us today. Again, I'm Richard.
I'm Shannon.
And real quick, we're just going to put up the links again. So if you want to try and do the thing that we did today, you can try out the aka.ms/
MakeCode Arcade game.
It's reversed, which is why I'm having so much trouble pointing at it. There we go.
Got it.
aka.ms/ MakeCode Arcade game. And if you have any questions, go to aka.ms MakeCode questions, which will take you to our forum, and you can post stuff there. And, you know, we're always pretty active on there, so hopefully we can get a response to you quickly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody.
Yeah. See you tomorrow.
Yeah.